I'm going to try to be as concise as possible while still staying broad within my scope on the subject of pelvic floor. But I think that Kegels kind of take over they're the limelight, they're the forerunner, they're what everybody talks about when they talk about pelvic floor. But I think that there's a lot more to this. For instance, when we talk about the pelvic floor and the reasons why we might want to strengthen it, a lot of the time it comes down to post-pregnancy. Women have had 3 kids. They, can't stop themselves from going to the bathroom. And if you notice the people talking about this kind of stuff, they never say it's just when they're sitting down. They say it's when they bend over. They say it's when they do a squat. They say it's when they're moving. So a lot of, from my perspective, I'm a specialist in movement. So I think I'm looking at alignment and how we can improve that, and then I'm looking at stability and how we can improve that. And I've got some pretty funky hair going on here in this picture. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 moves. It's going to be a quadruped sit back into a stability ball, and then we're going to go over roller pinch toe touch, and then we're going to do a feet to wall a breathing drill to strengthen some of the diaphragmatic muscles as well as the intercostals, and start to relax some of the your erector, your spinal erectors, your paraspinal muscles via the hip, because I really think that that's what this is going to boil down to. So with the first one here that's already up, because I don't really know what I'm doing with tech, so bear with me if this isn't awesome work with a computer here, but I'm not what you would call a computer expert. So this is a feet to wall breathing drill, and what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get into 90 degrees at my hip, 90 degrees at my knee, and then I'm trying to push all my air into my belly and into the low back and into the side of my waist while pinching that roller. And actually I can just let the video explain here for just a minute. Keep going.
Pinch on that roller, get a little bit of a press into that wall so that our hamstrings turn on, and then hands on the ribs, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth through pursed lips. So it's going to be, okay, we want big inhale, pushing all the air down into our pelvis, into our low back, into our side, into our belly, so that we get that 360 expansion, dropping the diaphragm to get it. Our adductors are turned on by squeezing the roller, our hamstrings turn on to create a better pelvic tilt. Okay, that's feet to wall breathing. Make sure you get a good pinch on that roller and a good press into the wall.
Did you guys see that hair? Did you guys see that hair? It looks like I just went to the salon. Well, I need to go to get a haircut here at some point. But what we're doing there, what I think is really going on there, and what I'm trying to say here is a lot of people live in this really hyperextended low back position. Not everybody, but especially females tend to kind of go into this extended posture, especially post-pregnancy. After, I'm making fun of myself here, but like this belly has expanded because a baby has been inside of it, and all of this crazy stuff is happening in your core where it just got ripped to pieces, and now you're supposed to walk around normal afterwards. I think that there's a lot of stuff in here in the front of the abs that we have to take care of, and a breathing drill is very non-invasive because it's not provocative, because you're doing it all day long, but forcing that air out, making those intercostals drop down, making that diaphragm push, making everything squeeze down upon that, because there's something very subtle about just passive exhale. It doesn't really take anything. You basically let gravity do it for you, but actually emphasizing that exhale causes all of those muscles to come together to do their primary job, which is to make you breathe. Their secondary job is to hold everything in position to protect the spine. But I'm pretty sure that spinal protection is superseded by your ability to take and exchange air so that you can stay alive. I mean, it was the first thing that you did when you came out of your mom. So what do we know? We know that when we turn on the adductors, when we pinch on that roller, for some reason, these funky things happen. Ooh, I didn't know that my cursor did that. That was fun. That your spinal erectors kind of relax, and it allows it's called your zone of apposition, and that diaphragm can stop pushing out like a balloon this way and can start pushing down upon itself like a balloon where you're stronger. So in that position, we're just working on alignment of the low back, so that, and I think this is kind of atom theory here, but I think that when we're actually having trouble with the pelvic floor, I don't think it's necessarily issue with the pelvic floor. I have never seen someone come in with just one problem. If they have a pelvic floor issue, they also have no stability in their hip, or they have a huge mobility problem, or something's going on there. So I think it's a multitude of different variables where the pelvic floor, the kegels, or whatever it is that's going on, isn't able to do its job because it's micromanaging everybody else. It's like when you're the mom and you have 3 kids and your husband is acting like one of the children, and you're like, God damn it, I cannot take this anymore. Do your job so that I can do my job, so I can stop doing everybody's job. And so you fail at all of them because you didn't do your original job. And I think that's a little atom theory going on there. But let's move on. This move, I want you to think of it kind of like think of a deadlift. Think of a hinge pattern. Because we only have so many movements. We press with our arms, we pull with our arms, we hinge at our hips, we squat down, we lunge, we split squat where we're in line, which would also be known like gait would be another one for lunge. We twist. There's only so many movements. So think of this one as the deadlift when we're bending over to grab something. Because what's really happening, I think, when that is that certain muscles, just like before, certain muscles are micromanaging other muscles, certain muscles aren't taking over their job, and then everything falls apart. So I'll let the video explain.
Roller pinch toe touch can be toe elevated or not toe elevated. Either way, we want to pinch between the roller, or we want the roller pinched between thighs. Our right foot.
I need a haircut so bad. Oh my gosh.
Be slightly forward, just a couple inches, okay? And our left foot's going to be back. We will not switch these. We're only going to do this way, okay? And we want squeeze the roller, sit back, especially emphasize sucking back into that left hip. We want to really emphasize that left hip, okay, as we do this. If it doesn't say toe elevated, it just says roller pinch toe touch, just don't do the toe elevated. Get a good squeeze on that roller. We're building stability in the pelvis so that the body will allow us to go a little bit further into that stretch. That's a roller pinch toe touch.
So there, we're just getting a little bit of pelvis so that we can go further in the stretch, like I said. But if we look at this, or if we look at the, it's not going to come up. Oh, that's cute.
Doesn't say.
I don't know, whatever. That'll be a fine, good picture. But I think what's going on there in the deadlift is that things just aren't taking over the way that they're supposed to do it. So if you learn how to brace your trunk by pushing out against the walls of your abdomen, everything kind of kicks into place. It creates kind of this super stiffness. So we learn how to brace, and then we learn how to build pelvis into that hip so that we can get back, and then we learn how to use our glutes, and we learn how to coordinate all of those within our movements, and then we get stronger within those movements, and everything ends up kind of taking care of itself in a weird sort of way. I realized that we were taking care of the situation to get us to a place where they could take care of themselves. But I think that that's what we're doing when we train, is we're coaxing the body along, not forcing it into submission. We're coaxing it to be able to perform better. So what about the feet to wall? I do not have a feet to wall, a quadruped sit back video pulled up here. I know I have one somewhere. I just wasn't able to find it. I apologize. But I want to show you that kind of the position, and everybody laughs when they, I don't know if there's a way for me to make this bigger. Anyway, so quadruped is just all fours, and if you think about this, if we were to rotate this picture 90 degrees to the right, this person's spine would be straight up, it would be vertical, and it would look very much like the bottom of a squat position. So I want you to think of this as a squat right here. So his feet are in kickstand, so his ankles pulled up into dorsiflexion. He's at the bottom of a squat, where he's probably not into full flexion at the hip right there. If it was me, it would be full flexion of the hip right there. Depending on his hip socket. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to do a few things. This move is used a lot for people with a lot of stability problems in their low back. It's used for people who have a lot of pelvic floor issues. So think of the squat. and usually we're using axial load to drive an external force. So we're if we turn this picture 90 degrees, we would be putting weight on our shoulders, weight in our hands for a goblet squat, weight on the front of our chest for a front squat, and it would be providing some kind of load externally from the top down. With this, think of this like a squat from the bottom up. So what this person is doing is they're pushing their butt back into a ball that is pressed into the wall. So unintentional rhyming there, but it's compressing that area and giving a different level of stress that the body has to respond to. That stimulus is what we're trying to coax the body back to be able to hold position here. This is one of those that if you can't do squats up front, what do we need to do? We need to find a way to be able to do the squat, because we need to get you kind of to coax your body along back to it. So we can't just sit there and be like, oh, you can't squat. We're not going to do something that you're bad at. We need to do something that you can manage. So quadruped sit back into a ball. All right, we're working bottoms up instead of top down. Now, what they would do, what I would do with most people is I would have them push their feet or their arms into the ground and push their butt back into that ball very hard. And usually you get a lot of giggles because people think that this looks like a really inappropriate position and whatever. I mean, I like to laugh at just about anything. So I'll giggle along with them, but at the same time, we're building stability in that pelvis and in that low back. And what we'll do, we'll push back into that wall as hard as we can, and then take, let's say, 3 deep breaths from that position. The breaths are 1 to work on your diaphragm, to work on your core, to work on the coordination, and to just create a speed bump so that they have to hold that position while that coordination is building within their ability to breathe, their ability to hold the low back in position, their ability to keep everything that needs to be kept in right here kept in, so that when they do a squat to a chair, they don't pee their pants. So another thing that we can do things like we can move our arms to create some more coordination and a different level of, you're looking at, I don't know what these other videos are, but but we're moving our arms around to get a different level of kind of coordination and a different level of stress so that we can have a new challenge. That's what I was going for. Anyway, quadruped sit backs, sitting back, get a few deep breaths, and that can work on that pelvic floor because we're moving things around in there. We're gaining coordination. It's not just sitting in there and kegling to death, because at some point we need to move beyond this, but at some point we have to have something for certain people to be able to stagger them along to a place that we want. But that's my little bit on the pelvic floor. Really quick, I try to stay very broad there, and stay away from physical therapy-esque type things. Obviously, this could get used in a physical therapy office, but this is kind of a lot of these kind of things are kind of the gray area between physical therapy and real life, or physical therapy and strength and conditioning. So this guy, he's just holding this on his low back. So one, he's getting stability here, but then he's getting the accountability of the roller. So if he twists, the roller will fall off. He should be able to move all of these, and the roller stayed there. But that's a roller pinch toe touch. It's a feet to wall breathing to work on alignment. The roller pinch toe touch is to simulate the deadlift and get some stability in that pelvis so that the pelvis can do what it's supposed to do, so that the muscles around the pelvis can do what it's supposed to do, so that the muscles inside of your lower trunk, your pelvic floor, the walls of your abdomen can do what they're supposed to do, so that everybody can be happy and not yelling at their coworkers about what they didn't do and micromanaging and taking over for them. But did you like my analogies to everyday life through your body? I don't know if they make sense to everybody, but I tried. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. We do videos like this all the time. I just never do them on here, but you can go to greatgym.com and see more of our stuff. Anyway, I'll see if I know how to close this thing out without looking completely incompetent with technology. But anyway, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.